This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamp.
This is Matt Vassallo with the RhinestoneWorld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank. Welcome into the show. It is Friday, November 4th, 2022. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. So today, Terry, we've got Jed Seifert going to be joining us from Stakes Manufacturing, and he is doing some amazing work talking about disability inclusion in the print industry and just really kind of carrying the flag for that. And I think this is so cool because, we'll let Jed talk about it, but, there's a lot of really good reasons to do this, to be a part of this conversation, to look at this for your company and whatnot. So I think this is a discussion well worth having. We had Jed on as part of the pre-Printing United kind of group, and he gave us a little highlight then. And so I'm looking forward to kind of hearing where they're at. They had some great stuff happening at Printing United as well, Terry. So excited to have him here today. And then I got to say one more thing. I doubt my dad's actually listening, but just in case, it is my dad's birthday today. So I just wanted to wish him a happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Monty.
There we go. So, so we're got that. We're going to have our news section here in just a second, but let's check in with some of the regulators real quick, Terry, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Okay. And just as a forewarning here, Eric is feeling a bit under the weather. So, Terry will be keeping things moving forward while I'm trying to push buttons. So. We've got Kingsbury Craft. Good morning. Thanks for being here. We've got Todd from Fat Dad Wholesale checking in. Good morning. Justa from Sweden. We got Kristen and Amanda from Printing United. Good to see you this morning, Amanda. Thanks for being here. And Ramona and Mr. David Gross from Conti Systems. So, Terry, we've got some people tuned in, even without Eric here, to spread the good news. So
exactly
we need
right.
You guys
exactly
that are
right.
listening in to get out there and share this. Make sure that everybody's tuned in, because this is a topic that you definitely don't want to miss. Yep. All right. Well, Terry, shall we get to the news segment, or like I said, just tell me where to go and I'll push.
Let's hear the news, Aaron.
All right. Well, let's bring in Cassie from the Apparelist to hear the latest news.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Big thanks to you guys again. I couldn't resist rocking my Two Regular Guys shirt this morning. So the news, October, we're going to do a quick wrap up. Lots of things happening. Y'all already kind of pointed to it, but Printing United Expo, massive success, right? I mean, if you attended the show, the energy, the excitement, it was just unreal. I've never seen so many people hugging. It was really clear that we were ready to be back. We were ready to see each other again. Personal shout out to Jed, because he did lead a disabilities inclusion session there. And that's become like a personal thing for me and for Printing United Alliance. So thanks, Jed. Can't wait to see the rest of the podcast today. So there's my shameless plug, Printing United Expo. Really awesome. If you want to read more of the wrap up articles, head on over to apparelist.com. In the spirit of, good things happening in the industry, obviously Jed's going to talk more about that later. Wanted to call attention to something really cool that Sanmar is doing. So Sanmar invested in the expansion of the Motivo School, and that's in Honduras. Now, that foundation was set up to just provide education to kids in a safe space, something for kids who weren't previously, getting the education they wanted or needed. Really cool initiative. That will fund 22 classrooms, a computer lab, additional staff. They have this goal of adding 600 students, which I think is just a huge goal, but probably pretty achievable. So shout out to Sanmar for doing that. Another shout out to a company doing something good. Hanes Brands launched a sustainable fashion initiative in the Dominican Republic. I really like this because it calls attention to the topic of sustainability in the apparel industry. I don't think it's any secret. It's pretty wasteful. So this initiative is really targeted toward reusing textiles and also reducing waste, right? So how can we do that in the apparel and fashion industry? There's a lot of companies doing really cool things like this. So shout out to Hanes Brands, everybody who's doing, something sustainable. I think that's just really great news. Plenty of headlines happening. Like I said, if you didn't get to all of them, make sure to head to apparelist.com. We have plenty of articles to share. Subscribe to the Apparelist newsletter. We share all of the headlines every week. And that's about it, guys. So thanks so much. Back to you.
All right.
All right.
I love the new segment.
There we go. Yeah, it was great, and Cassie does such a good job. And if you go and if you are watching live, just pick up your camera phone and point it right above. Take a picture of Terry, but you can also take a picture of the QR code right above him there, and that'll take you over to Apparelist to get signed up. Very nice, Terry. You are a fantastic Vanna White. So at some point that reference won't play anymore, but she's still around, I think. So.
I think so. I believe so.
All right. So again, thanks to Cassie. Great. Yeah, really good stuff. And check out all that stuff. We will also have that in the show notes, and you can check all that stuff out there. So, all right,
if
Terry.
you were listening to the podcast version of the show, Cassie was wearing her Two Regular Guys t-shirt.
That's right. She totally was. All right. Well, Terry, one other thing that, and I'm going to see if I can find the banner in here, but we've got only 1 week left to get your Reggie nominations in. And so make sure that you head over to tworegularguys.com/Reggies. And so Terry, maybe just real quick, give folks a rundown of kind of what to expect next week once we have all these nominations in.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The 10th annual Reggie Awards. Who knew? Reggie meaning the Regular Guys Awards. And Aaron, I've done my nominations, and just you and I each get our one opportunity to nominate people, just like everybody else. And these nominations are all from the people from the industry. So go in and you do have to nominate in 7 categories. And by the way, you can't nominate the same person in every category. that gets bounced. But there are clear instructions over there on how to do it. And so next week, what we'll be doing is every person, every company that's nominated is going to be mentioned on the show. So if we get 100 people for best customer service, we're going to go down the list so that everybody gets recognized, even if you're not in the final vote. And what we'll do is we'll take the 5, or if there's a tie, the 6 top nominations, and then we'll start voting. And come December, we'll have our award show, and all those winners. We're going to try our best to get each and every one of the winners on the show that day. And of course, they'll get their plaque and their official Two Regular Guys coffee mug. And looking forward to it. And it gets bigger every year, Aaron, and super excited about it.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the names. I always stay out of it, right? Like I can go see right now, but I don't, because it's really important to me that this is the people's choice, and there's nobody thinks that we're manipulating this in any way, shape, or form. So like you said, we get our one vote, and I put mine in, and then I leave it. I can see how many nominations we have, and they are starting to come in a little bit more hot and heavy, but a little lighter than years past so far. So maybe they're just waiting till the last week here, but don't forget to get get your Reggie nominations in. Go to tworegularguys.com/Reggies, and you can do that right there, Terry. So now, Terry, normally in this location here, this space, we would have a dad joke, but we're gonna flip things slightly because our guest has told us that he's got a dad joke. So we're gonna put the pressure on him, and he's gonna bring us a good dad joke here in just a second. But let's hear a quick word about some mindset stuff, and then we'll get into the rest of the program here. Does that sound like a good plan there, sir?
That sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
All right, now I just have to find it. There we go. Okay. So I want to share with you 3 mental states most business owners struggle to master. It's goal setting so that you believe it's possible. It's facing fears to be able to step outside of your comfort zone. And finally, taking action even when you're not sure what action to take. Now, 90% of the challenges business owners have faced have nothing to do with the nuts and bolts of running a business. It's not the accounting, the production, or even the marketing. It is the mindset. Now, as entrepreneurs, we need to cultivate a mindset that we were never taught in school. All right, well, just head over to that link you saw at the end there, our success group, OSG.link/mindset, and that'll take you to a place where you can learn a little bit more. I go a little bit deeper into it from that stage. So,
all right. Well, Aaron, since we're going to pause on the dad joke, and the one that I had plugged in, I just put down there at the bottom. So we have a couple down there in our back pocket just in case. But before we go any further, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, regular guys, with your show ideas. And if you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and questions and any experiences you have with this inclusion as well. So looking forward to having Jed on and having a lively conversation.
Yeah, well, how about we stop looking forward to it and we actually do it? You ready for that?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, Jed Seifert is the co-founder of Stakes Manufacturing, a print-on-demand and wholesale apparel printing company out of Cleveland, Ohio, where they are passionate about inclusion and currently employ a number of individuals with different disabilities. Stakes was recently awarded the APSE 2022 National Employer of the Year, recognizing their hard work building an inclusive workforce employing people with disabilities. So welcome into the show, Jed.
Gentlemen, great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, Jed, I'm not sure what the story is, but all of our listeners from Cincinnati just logged out. I'm not sure what that's all about, but
I don't know. Those Bengals fans don't like me. I don't know. They don't like the companies in Cleveland. I guess it's a state rivalry. I don't know.
All right. I just made that up, but it was a good opportunity too.
Yeah. All right, Jed. Well,
although Joe Burrow went to my high school, I'm just as an aside.
He's having a rough season. Where's Joe Burrow from last season?
I don't know. That's the way it happens. That sophomore year,
Okay. All right, Jed. Well, I know people are on the edge of their seats because we really kind of set you up here. So we need that dad joke first and foremost.
So I'm going to give my dad joke, but I'm not trying to steal your sunshine. You still got to give your dad joke too, okay? I just wanted to join the party.
Okay.
And I dropped the dad joke last time I was on the show, so I felt obligated to, keep it up.
You were, so we appreciate you showing up ready to go.
All right, so here we go. You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
What did the left eye whisper to the right eye?
Don't know.
I don't know. What did the left eye whisper to the right eye?
Psst, hey. Something between us smells.
That is truly a dad joke.
That is fantastic. I cannot wait till my son gets home from school tonight. I will be telling him that joke. I love it.
All right. Well, here's the one I had stashed away. Aaron, did you know that no matter where I go, I like to bring my ukulele?
I did not know that.
Yeah, because that way, whenever someone asks if I play an instrument, I can say, I play a little guitar.
The groaning and I'm sure the eye rolling is happening in mass right now.
Aaron, you got one?
Oh boy, I probably told all mine. I'd have to go to the database to find it. So does that work? All right. So
I'm putting mine back into the outline so I don't tell it again and think, why does everybody saying I've heard that before? All right. Well, so Jed, let's get started. The way we start most of our interviews, tell us how you came into the industry.
Absolutely. So it's about 15 years ago. My business partner is my best friend, Vince Bartozzi. We've been best friends since we were 5 years old. We founded a skins company. So we were doing vinyl skins for iPods, cell phones, laptops, back in the heyday when those were popular. We had licensing deals with everybody from SpongeBob to the Beatles to Muhammad Ali to Kim Kardashian to South Park. And, you know, our entire business model was print on demand because we serviced thousands of devices with thousands of pieces of artwork. So we couldn't keep really an inventory of anything. So that was sort of our first foray into printing. We were printing on the 3M vinyl using Mimakis and Roland printers. We sold that company in 2011 and then took our experience and knowledge of the print on demand business model, as well as our extensive group of wonderful partners, and partnered with a screen print company to launch a print on demand apparel company back in 2013. We grew that, and then in 2019 we had the opportunity to acquire that division from the company, rebranded as Stakes Manufacturing, and we are all things printed apparel at this point. So it's been about 15 years. We started on the vinyl side and now live on the cotton and polyester side.
You're inches away from being industry veteran. So
yeah, you're in that ballpark. I like that for sure.
It feels like both a lifetime as well as just yesterday.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jed, I've had the opportunity to hear a little bit more of the story too about your process into inclusion. So let's. I'm gonna just ask you to start there. You've got a special connection and a reason why this became important to you, and you know, before you even took this to this next level. So would you tell us that story as well?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my brother has Fragile X, which is the leading known genetic cause of autism. You know, so I've been highly involved in the disabled community since I was young, working as a mainstream counselor, a Special Olympics coach. My entire family's highly involved. And then about 20 years ago, my brother got a job working in the mailroom of the Securities Exchange Commission, and it changed his life. He's worked there ever since. It gave him the independence to move out of my parents' house, get his own apartment, pay his own bills, be happy, fulfilled, make work friends, be a great employee. And it didn't just change his life, it changed my family's life. Anybody who's got a family member with disabilities, you spend the majority of your life wondering what's going to happen after you die and how are they going to support themselves.
Yeah.
So this opportunity really allowed my brother to be able to support himself. You know, he went from a dependent living in my parents' house to an independent taxpayer, you know, paying all of his own bills, supporting the local economy, using public transportation and all of that. So, you know, it's always been near and dear to my heart, and really wanted to take the opportunity to try to provide that same opportunity to other folks, right? We wanted the disabled community is 1 out of every 5 people or more in America have disabilities. So you're talking about the largest minority in the entire country Yet the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is over 80%, which is staggering. And that's not because they don't want to work. And that's really what we set out to change. Really wanted to set out to change it both within our company, but then also lead as an example to make change industry wide.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, so tell us a little bit about why inclusion makes sense for all the businesses out there that are listening to us today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and I guess to kind of keep going on the story of how I got involved too. So, because I think that plays into it. My brother, back in 2017, my brother got awarded Employee of the Year by Seek. Seek is a disability employment service provider in the DC, Maryland area. And what they do is they help companies hire, or they help them find, screen, hire, onboard, and train disabled employees. They'll also help manage, and they'll also help train your managers as well. And so in 2017, I went to this event where my brother got this award, and it was really a moving type of thing. And they asked me to join the Business Advisory Council. And that's where I really started to learn the model, because I didn't understand it before. And I think the main reason people don't hire with disabilities is not because they don't want to, it's because they don't necessarily understand the model, right? They don't understand that these organizations are state funded. They're free to employers. So they're like, where else could you find a free hiring agency that's going to train your staff and train your managers to make them better, to make them better? But what I noticed once I got involved with that is that the print industry, we service hundreds of different individuals in the DC, Maryland area at Embassy Suites and Hilton and National Institute of Health and Balanced Gyms, but there was no printers. So I'm going, well, this doesn't make any sense, because it seemed to be such a natural fit, right? While we're a digital print shop, there's similarities to what we do with every print shop in the country. And the reality is most of the jobs on our production floor are repetitive. Some are low-skilled repetitive, some are high-skilled repetitive. Well, repetitive tasks are where people with disabilities flourish. It's where people without disabilities actually get bored, or maybe think it's monotonous, and you have a high turnover rate in a lot of those positions, right? So, and I think oftentimes people think of people with disabilities as just fitting into the low-skilled repetition, but that's not the case. We've got a lady with cerebral palsy who does our inventory reports and audits because she's got a degree in cybersecurity. We have a gentleman who's operating, our $750,000 Cornate equipment. We've got folks that are shipping packages. We've got them really individuals in all the different departments. And what we found, to answer your question more specifically, is what we found is, we set out to really change the lives of the individuals that we hire. But what we've seen is a real ROI for our business, right? It's taught our staff and our managers empathy. It's brought them together. I mean, people in departments that had never spoken together started working together more cohesively as a team, and we had never seen that. Managers became better, right? The reality is that your job as a manager is not to focus on people's disabilities or their weaknesses, right? It's to focus on their abilities and their strengths and cultivate those, right? Yeah. So, it helped our managers do that, not just for the individuals with disabilities that they were supporting, but for the entire business, right? It also, we started to see people's performance pick up. Our third best warehouse employee out of 50, and that's based off of speed and accuracy, has autism and is a graduate from our school to work transition program that we have set up with the county. And, when you're getting your butt kicked in your performance KPIs by somebody who's, got some challenges, it's highly motivating, right? I think it also, there are our happiest employees, our most reliable employees, and it makes everybody, it's contagious. It makes everybody else happy and brings people together. And it really takes, makes our company, which has grown quite a bit over the last few years, remain sort of more intimate in that family atmosphere. We kind of call it, for lack of a better term, the anti-Amazon culture, right? Because that's who we compete most with for employees. And we've created a very inclusive environment, not just for folks with disabilities, but LGBTQ and, every race, religion, age. We really want anybody and everybody to feel welcome. And when you have a diverse employees like that, it also brings other new ideas and things that you wouldn't get if you just had every employee looks the exact same. So you bring other experiences and knowledge and ideas to the table, which is, better for the company. So we've seen a tremendous impact across our business without it having any detriment to our performance, which I think is extremely important, because when we talk about hiring people with disabilities, this is not charity. And if you're doing it for charity, it's going to be short-lived. This is meaningful employment. This is mutually beneficial. It has to be reciprocal. You have to hold these employees to the same standards, because at the end of the day, you're still running your business, right? You want to make your social impact, but the social impact can't come at a cost of your ability to perform for your partners and to have a successful, healthy business. So we've seen a tremendous impact, and we're trying to help, spread that to have everybody understand how much this can benefit their business. Well, it's going to give them the warm and fuzzies for doing the right thing. It's bigger than that. It's going to make their people better. It's going to make their company better. It's going to strengthen their culture. It's going to improve employee retention has been another big one, right? A lot of the folks with disabilities have filled positions that we see a much higher turnover rate. But what we've also seen is it's improved employee retention for folks without disabilities. I had a manager say to me, I tell this story all the time, but I had a manager, a warehouse manager. I said to him, hey, day one, if this ever impacts your ability to hit your, performance KPIs, you got to let me know. And I came back to him a month later and said, hey, how's this impacting you? And he said, hey, I used to just move cotton around a warehouse. Now I come to work and I feel like I'm actually changing people's lives. That's a level of fulfillment I've never received at a job before, right? So those type of feelings, and we see it from a lot of folks. We've got other individuals on our staff that have disabilities, but have never admitted that they have them because they're scared that that's going to mean that they don't get a job. But then they find out that we've got this inclusive environment. Now all of a sudden those folks feel more welcome. So it really touches every point of your business. And it started as just like a vision and an initiative, but it's truly become the fabric of our business and our culture. So, and we expect other people to reap all the exact same benefits, whether you're a small mom and pop shop that's got just a few employees, or whether you're, a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company, whether the individual is working full-time for you or part-time. You will see all of those benefits.
Yeah. So, Jed, this is, you talked about, I think something that kind of hit me a little bit as you were talking about it was when you mentioned, if this is charity, it won't last. So can you dive a little deeper into that and just kind of, as you say it, it totally makes sense, because it still has to ultimately make sense in the long run. But when you come into this, like you said, you kind of started there, but now you saw the benefits. So explain a little bit more about that statement, if you don't mind.
Yeah, look, we're running a business. We all have to perform. We all have expectations. We all answer to somebody, whether it's our partners, our clients, internally, to make sure that we have healthy business. So, none of us can afford to have employees on payroll that are going to just take up resources and not perform. And I think that is oftentimes a preconceived, an incorrect preconceived notion of folks about people with disabilities is like, hey, I'm going to hire this person, but they're not going to be able to perform as well as our other employees. That's not the case.
Yeah.
Now, you might have to tailor some of the training early on, right? Maybe it takes the person, 3 weeks to train instead of 2 weeks to train. And maybe you tailor the training materials to specifically how they better learn. But that goes with people without disabilities too, right? Some of us learn better from listening. Some of us learn better from seeing. Some of us learn better from writing things down, right?
Yeah.
But once you get those employees going, they should be some of your best employees, right? And that's the expectation, and we've had to make sure that our staff knows that too. We had one employee who would doze off at the job. And I said, well, hey, so-and-so sleeping. And they're like, yeah, well, they only do it for about 5-10 minutes and they're up. And I go, no, you got to hold them to the same, you got to hold them to a standard, right? Same standard. Because at the same time, we're also trying to teach these individuals, what independent, responsible employment is at the same time, right?
Yeah.
The beautiful thing too is with these disability employment service providers, they provide the added support to support your team, because I think a lot of folks also go, well, we don't have the resources, our guys don't know how to deal with people with disabilities. Well, you got these service providers who will come out, they'll do an audit of your business, right? They don't need you to even know what position you're trying to fill. All they need to know is you're opening the door to let them see your business. They're going to review all of your entry level positions. And what you think might be the position that makes the most sense might not be. We just had a company do an audit. They thought it was going to be somebody that was going to be in their finishing department, but it turns out the best opportunity currently open is data entry. And data entry is a huge category for folks with disabilities. Again, there's this huge spectrum of disabilities, higher functioning, lower functioning, more detail oriented, more physical. There's all different types of them, right? So, it's about finding the right employee for the right position that's going to excel in that position, not somebody that you're just hiring so that you can feel good about yourself. Again, because then when money gets tight, the economy goes to crap, those are going to be the people that you cut ties with first. So again, it's got to be reciprocal in everything you do, right? Everything you put into it, you should get out at least that amount. And that's going to be what's going to make it a long-term thing, and not a program or initiative, but actually become just the foundation of how you do your business.
Yeah. Wow. That's just so, it's so incredible to think through it in that manner, and I do think that a lot of people might come to this. Some people are touched by the situation. Sharon here says got on late. So I have a special needs son and want to do this. Can't wait to rewatch and learn more. Right. This is my wife, Kylene, who also has got some experience. I have an older son who has autism, and that she's a great stepmom for. So she says, this is wonderful. Thank you for bringing awareness to this population of people. As a former vocational counselor for people with disabilities, the sense of purpose, pride, and fulfillment they feel when working changes their lives for the better. And I think that's so incredible for me to continue to wrap my brain around here as you talk about this, right? We just want to make people's lives around us better in general, and being able to, do this for a wide range of people, completely inclusive. I think that's really incredible, and we appreciate you kind of carrying that flag a lot, Jed. So,
no, thank you very much. And again, it's not just changing the lives of the individuals with disabilities. We feel very strongly that it's changing the lives of all of our other employees and exposing a lot of them to things that they've never been exposed to, right? We're in a time right now where inclusion is actually really picking up momentum, right? Every company has a DE&I statement on their website. It's just unfortunate that oftentimes, we talk about race, religion, sexual orientation, all those good things. And then, disabilities is always kind of like the forgotten part of it, yet it's the biggest minority in the country. So, we're trying to, and it's not, the credit's not to me, right? The credit is to our business, and all of our employees and our staff, and everybody has been incredibly supportive of our vision and what we're trying to accomplish. And, when we won the APSI award that you mentioned in the intro, that's voted on by all the disability employment service providers nationwide. So that was a really meaningful thing for us. And my brother got to come see me get the award, which was one of those kind of beautiful life moments, because, him getting his Employee of the Year award inspired me to get involved. And then he got to see us get Employer of the Year award. So, it was pretty cool. And we've seen a lot of support in the print industry as well. Cassie was on earlier, and I want to give her a big shout out, because, her, and Josh and David and everybody from Print United Alliance have been extremely supportive in helping us tell the story to try to create an industry-wide change, and impact it, to not only tell people all the benefits from it, but also to give people a step-by-step guide of how they can get involved and reap the benefits for their business. And even if they're not ready to fully commit, at least what is step one to how I can start learning about these services and supports to see if it's a good fit for my organization.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to get into those nuts and bolts. And you mentioned Printing United, so I needed to bring up Amanda's comment as well here. He says, Amanda from Printing United says, I love that, Jed. So true, to actually be immersing employees and holding everyone to that same standard and not just feeling good about yourself for the hire. That is truly what makes this experience for everyone genuine and inclusive. And so I think really good. So Terry, you had some questions about Printing United, actually.
Well, yeah, exactly. I didn't get to see the panel because I was working in a booth, and I know, Aaron, you were just running full time all over that.
I got back there and I'm like, it was packed. There was like nowhere to sit. I'd be standing in front of people, so I kind of hung out on the side for a little bit, but then I had to run. So I'm excited to learn more.
Well, yeah. So Jed, talk to us a little bit about that panel and who else was there on the panel with you and what it brought to light for the audience.
Absolutely. So it was a very cool panel that, I was really humbled to be a part of. The panel was the Printing Industry Uniting around disability employment. And we had a very prestigious group of industry leaders, some who are direct competitors at every other moment of the day. But everybody, came together to say, hey, this is bigger than, this is bigger than just our competition. We can all come together unified because this is something we all believe in. And the panel kind of came together starting about 6 months earlier. Really, once I kind of told my story to Print United Alliance and told the Stakes story and about my brother and our co-founder and all of our staff, and Print United Alliance was really just very supportive. They wanted to help tell the story. Cassie did a bunch of videos. And during that process, what happened is people started to reach out. People started to reach out to us directly to say, hey, how do we get involved? This is pretty cool. We didn't even realize that there were these service providers. Folks started to reach out who already had, employees with disabilities. And it was a really cool thing. So, some of these companies that weren't hiring folks with disabilities yet started to, look into starting programs. And so we had a great group of panelists. We had Jekka, the CCO of Corny. We had Ross, the president of Rock. We had Ryan, the founder of RyanNet and Made Labs. We had Taylor, the VP of Lawson. And we had Nabil, the founder of Lane 7 Apparel. And all of them, I think the really cool aspect of the panel was everybody was in different stages of their journey, right? Nabil and Lane 7, they had just gotten started. And they just had reached out to me, and I had connected them through APSI with a local disability employment service provider in their area, and they had just started the journey. And it was a moving moment where Nabil, talked about how he was deaf in one ear and hard hearing in another ear, and how that impacted his ability to get a job earlier on in life. A story that hadn't even heard before the panel, which was really, really cool to hear, right? And then you've got Corny and Rock, both found that, we worked very closely with both of them, and they found out what we were doing, and they were two of the first people to reach out to us and say, hey, how do we get involved? So it was really cool that, they're already in the process. Corny's looking at evaluating their disability employment service provider. Rock's already signed on one, is in the process of hiring their first person. So, and then you got Ryan from RyanNet, and they've had a couple disabled employees for years, and they do the exact model that we do at Stakes. They work with a local disability employment service provider. So it was great to kind of hear, their side of the story and their experience working with the providers. And then Taylor, he's got an individual with disabilities working for him, but wasn't necessarily aware of, the disability employment service provider. So he's been doing it the hard way, unsupported. So he was excited to find out about that, to see how those supports might help him with his individual employee, or if he wanted to scale it. So it was really cool to just see everybody from different parts of their journey, but everybody unified. And, the reaction was incredible. We got, after the show, there's been an outpouring support for the message that we were getting across. But more importantly, there's been people that have reached out that want help getting started, and we've been helping to direct them to resources. And the panel ended with a call to action, which I'll say here again today, which is, we want to challenge the entire print industry to hire one person, each company to hire one person with disabilities over the next year. And I don't care if it's part-time. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of folks with disabilities who are only allowed to work part-time because of archaic laws that say they'll lose their Social Security if they work too many hours. So, we really want to see the print industry come together, join forces to not only make a change within the print industry, but then the print industry, which has been behind the times on inclusion, can go to become a trailblazer and show other industries how you can unite together to impact change within your industry. Because even the biggest industries, once you're in them, they're pretty small. And once you get a good group of people impacting change, you can move mountains.
Yeah.
I think that probably a lot of our listeners are surprised that these disability services are available and everywhere. And the thing that, when I've been involved in this in the past, the ongoing support was really what surprised me and was so beneficial to all those employees that, the services, they were in there all the time, making sure that, if there's any retraining that needs to be done, things like that. So well, as I said, I believe that a lot of companies have no concept of this and that the opportunities are there.
Yeah, I mean, so they're going to literally, they'll screen and find. So the best of the disability employment providers will really tailor it based off of what your need is in that position, right? This isn't just, oh, you got an open position, I got one employee, throw them in there. No, because what we're also trying to do is, this is about the individual's pursuit of their own happiness. So we want to put them in a position of a job that they want to do and they're excited to do, right? So it's got to be a good fit. So part of it's matchmaking and screening, and they take a lot of the challenges out of it. People with disabilities tend to not interview well, right? So if you try to go to hire them through the same channels and the same sort of process as you normally do, you might not end up hiring them because, hey, you have an interview with someone who's autistic, maybe they don't really talk much in the interview, but the same person is going to come to work and just go to work, right? So they help support with that process so that you don't get caught up there. But then you mentioned, Terry, that the continued support is incredible, right? The retraining, the helping. The big one is safety, right? Making sure that you don't have, look, what's safe for me is the same thing that's going to be safe with somebody with disabilities, but oftentimes we don't even look at safety as organizations, right? Enough. So anything that we do from a safety standpoint is really helping every individual in the company, not just the individual with disabilities, right? So there's a training, there's helping. The other thing is you might get somebody who's not a good fit, right? So it's about, hey, this person isn't the right fit, whether it's company culture or the job. So let's get that person out and replace it with somebody else, right? Yeah. One time I heard somebody say, hey, we hired somebody with disabilities, it didn't work out. And that was it for us. And I looked at him, I go, well, if you hired a woman and it didn't work out, would you never hire a woman again? Because, so it's like, and these service providers, they'll also help you with things that you're not maybe going to do. I'll give you two examples, right? My brother, as I mentioned, worked at his job for 20 years. 2 days in a row, he fell asleep at his job. That can get you fired, right? Well, they told his job counselor. His job counselor told my parents, which no employee is going to call somebody's parents, right? So, and turns out that my brother had his medication changed the week prior. So all they had to do was adjust his dosage of his medication, but it was like he was literally getting drowsy from the drugs he was taking. Took a day to get his medication readjusted, and it never happened again. We had a gentleman in our facility who's a great employee, but during his break, we have these signs and staging lanes. He was turning them around. Just a nervous tick or whatever. And they were like, well, what do we do? And I said, well, did you talk to the employee about it? They're like, yeah, we did. And I said, all right, well, did you tell the job counselor? No. Well, they told the job counselor talked to the employee. reiterated it at home, and it never happened again. So, those are just teeny little examples. But the point is like, you don't have to be equipped or experienced to support it. And most of the stuff that you're going to deal with is just positive, right? But with any employee, there's going to be times where there needs to be correction or making things better. And they provide the supports to do that. And they also help train your manager. So your manager doesn't have to figure out, well, how do I train this person with autism? And how is it different when I train this person with Asperger's? Is there a difference, right? So that continued support is incredible. And again, it's free. So you're essentially getting a free hire, trainer, and manager that's going to help you grow this, and that's going to have a positive impact on your entire business.
Wow. That's incredible. All right. Well, I said nuts and bolts, right? And I love your call to action. So let's give people how to do this, right? So we just talked about all these free services, but how can somebody get started? What should I be doing right now? I'm excited. You've got me excited. I'm on board for the call to action. What do I need to do?
So step one, I believe, is to find your disability employment service provider. Okay. And step two is also to start changing your regular ads. So even during the process, while we were trying to find a local organization in Cleveland, similar to the organization Seek that supports my brother in the DC area, we started putting in all of our ads that we were an inclusive business, that we hired people of all abilities. And as I mentioned the example of the lady with cerebral palsy before, who does our warehouse audits and reports, she came organically just through seeing in our ads that we hired people with all abilities. So you can just start by changing the language in your ads, and that will open you up to this workforce that maybe you're not seeing applicants from. The second part, but I think the most important part, is finding a disability employment service provider in your area. And there's a number of ways that you can go about doing that. So number one, every single state has a vocational rehabilitation office, right? So you can reach out to your voc rehab office, and you can tell them that, hey, you're looking to hire folks with disabilities. It's different from state to state. Some states, their vocational rehabilitation office actually provides the services themselves, where they'll help you find employees and train them and all that good stuff. Some states don't, and they'll refer you out to other local nonprofits that they work with. So that's one resource. Another resource is APSE, who we mentioned before. APSE is the National Trade Organization for Disability Employment Service Providers. So you can reach out to them at apse.org, and you can ask them for a local service provider in your area, and they'd be more than happy to assist you. There's another wonderful organization called the ARC. The ARC has all types of services for people with disabilities, one of which is employment. And it's different from state to state, but they can either help you find employees and hire and train them, or they can refer you out to a local organization. And you can find them at thearc.org. And then you can also reach out to me. I'm Jed Seifert. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to help anybody and everybody to get directed to some local resources in your area. And then I think the last great resource is I sit on an organization called the CEO Commission, which was founded by the National Down Syndrome Society, SHRM, as well as Voya Financial. And part of it is, champion inclusion and helping folks get started. And the other part of it is also trying to drive policy changes to, as I mentioned, some of the archaic laws that hinder people with disabilities from working to their full potential. So those are some really great resources. Between, APSE, your voc rehab, and the ARC, you should be able to find somebody very easily. And then it's a matter of reaching out to that organization. And then, just like any hiring agency, you got to find the right fit, right? Some hiring agencies are going to be more proactive than others. Some are, a better fit for your business, whether it's culturally or you just vibe with them, right? And some areas you might not even have a choice, right? If you live in Cleveland, you might have 7 to 10 choices. You live in a more rural area, you might only have one choice, right? But those are some really good options to get started. And again, don't get caught up trying to figure out, oh, well, this is the exact position I'm going to hire for. I need a person that's going to be this type of person. Don't worry about any of that. All you got to do is be intentional to open the door to talk to them. Because then what they'll do is they'll come in, they'll evaluate your business, they'll find out what positions you have open versus what potential employees they have to figure out what's the right fit. And again, there's not a one size fits all model. There's part-time employment, there's full-time employment. We also have a school to work program. We partnered with our local county school system. So we have a program with the local county school system where 12 interns a semester will work 2 hours a day with us. They get high school credit. They get signed an on-site mentor. And the goal is by the end of the semester to turn them into independent employees. Most of the time it happens even earlier than that. Sometimes it doesn't happen till the end. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But for the most part, you also get supported by, job counselors while you're doing this. And I mentioned our third best employee from our warehouse. He's a graduate from this school to work program. So then once they graduate the program, if it's a good fit for them and it's a good fit for us, then they get the opportunity for full-time employment. So you could also reach out to your county school system because there are other school to work transition programs, and you don't even have to set up a school to work transition program at your business the way Stakes has, but those programs in your area can feed trained employees to your business. So for example, we have a transition program set up here in DC with Hilton and Embassy Suites, and folks that get trained from those programs then get hired into other companies, and they come, with professional experience and can be some of your best employees.
I kind of backed into this experience when I was in Kansas City when we were jobbing out packaging to a workshop for special needs employees, and it was and it was working really, really great. And then of course one of the counselors said, we have employees that could come to you as well. And so it was kind of through the back door, and it was just a tremendous experience. And just like you're describing, they came in, they did all the training. They brought the employees in a van to the job site every day. They picked them up at the end of the day. And it was just it was a win for our company, and by accident, 20 years ago. But talk to us about some of the wins you've seen in the industry.
I mean, a big one is just the momentum that we've been creating, right? The fact that organizations as that are publicly traded in this industry are reaching out to us individually to say, hey, how can we get involved? I mean, that's been tremendous. I think from a personal level, I had an experience with one of the parents of one of the individuals that worked from us came into our facility. I got a chance to meet them, and they just started crying and telling me that, hey, that's not my kid. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And they're like, I've never seen him so focused and responsible and so driven and happy and on task. And so to kind of have those moments where you feel empowered, that you go, oh my God, I actually can change people's lives. It even sounds corny to say change people's lives out loud, I feel like sometimes, but and I'm not special. My business partner, Vince, he's not special. All of our employees, we're all are special. But I guess my point being is everybody can do what we're doing, right? Yeah. And once you start to kind of get a taste of that, oh my God, I can change an individual's life. We just wanted to go bigger and bigger and said, oh my God, well, if we could change one person's life, now we've got 20 employees with disabilities and 12 interns, and we're going, well, let's not stop there. Let's look outside of these four walls. So I think the momentum that we've been getting in the print industry and the reception it's been extremely gratifying, and it definitely gives me the warm and fuzzies and makes me feel like I'm, doing more than just selling t-shirts, and that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
So that's I think the biggest win. And then the other biggest win is the culture that we've created at our business is so unique. People walk in the door and they feel it the second they get in there. It's not just me saying it. Like, it feels different than really any other manufacturing facility I've been in. So I think that that's also a super cool accomplishment that we're really, really proud of. And we're hoping to help other people find all those same big wins and all that same sort of gratification.
Yeah. 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 That is incredible. I mean, just like you said, just experiencing that and just experiencing these stories here right now, I start to feel a little bit emotional about it. And that's that warm fuzzy that shows up. So I love that. All right.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I just wanted to, you say what you're going to say, because I'm going to change gears on you here real quick.
I was just going to say, this is also solving what I think is one of the biggest issues facing our industry right now, which is hiring. And I can't speak for everybody, but it's as hard for us to hire as it's ever been. It's as competitive as it's ever been. So we're really challenged to get employees into the door right now. Not only get them into the door, but retain them. So you have this entire untapped workforce that is ready to go to work. Not only are they ready to go to work, but they're going to be some of your most reliable employees, and they will be some of your longest tenured employees as well. So this is also something not just to help the community, not just to help the culture, but there is a real deal issue that we all face right now, and there's a solution staring everybody in the face. We just have to open up our eyes to it.
Yeah, that's incredible. All right. Well, so I was changing gears a little bit because as we were talking about resources, my wife jumped in here and said another resource you can use is the Regional VA Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Services to help veterans who have disabilities. So, so you've got all these things in the spirit of Veterans Day coming up here, right?
All right.
Yeah. So, all right, Jed, I've got one last question for you here because we're running out of time, and this has been incredible. But you've got the call to action, right? We've got that. But what's next, right? What happens from here? I know when you and I had a chance to talk privately, kind of you gave me that roadmap, that vision a little bit for you.
Yeah, I think what's next for us is I think we're just getting started in the print industry. So we want to turn sort of momentum and buzz and people having interest into true action. I'd love to be sitting here with you a year from now and say, hey, X amount of organizations now have hired individuals with disabilities that a year ago did not have them. I really want to see tangible results instead of, everybody just sort of high-fiving and agreeing that this is a good thing, right? We need to see actual tangible results. So number one would be seeing tangible results within our industry. And then I would love to use our industry as a case study to go to, colleagues in different industries and say, hey, look, this is the roadmap that we did in our industry.
Yeah.
Here you can follow this same roadmap in your industry, no matter what it is. And then, the goal is to make a, change, really change the world, right? Change the way that people are looking at people with disabilities, bring them back into the workforce. We're also going to continue to fight the fight to change some of these policies that are archaic. I already mentioned one about limiting people's hours and then they lose their Social Security. There's other policies like if you get married, then you go from having two people's benefits down to one. So there's all types of different policy change stuff that needs to happen at the government level. And then I think the last thing that we really want to see too is we really want to see all these organizations and companies, both in the print industry outside of it, screaming from the mountaintops and being proud of it, right? We want to see people. Sometimes people think it cheapens it, but it's quite the opposite. Exposure is what builds momentum and what gets other people to kind of follow suit and do the same thing. So, there's a lot of incredible organizations out there that have disability inclusion programs, but still aren't putting it in their ads. I know when I found out that Lyft was working with a bunch of disability employment service providers to create a partnership to help individuals with disabilities get to work, I stopped using Uber and only used Lyft. When I found out that Walgreens and CVS had just huge disability inclusion programs, I stopped going to other drugstores. But what we need to do is start seeing it in the ads. So like Voya Financial is a great example where they'll put it in their ads. They'll put employees with disabilities in their ads. They'll also put that they have financial savings programs, that are tailored for folks with disabilities. So we want to start seeing it more in the public eye. We want to start seeing it in TV commercials and magazine ads. And we want people to be proud of it because we believe, and I think the younger generation, even more so than our generation, wants to work with companies that are making an impact, that aren't just a service provider, but are doing more. So I think that's sort of the grand big picture is, hey, let's change the print industry, get tangible results. Let's use that to change other industries. And then let's get everybody to start actually exposing this to the public and being proud of it.
Yep. I love it. All right. Well, Terry, we're Jed said it. We're a year from now. Jed will be back, and we'll expect
first week in November.
Report.
Love it.
So, you guys, regulators out there, time to take action. I love that. I love the vision. I love it. Like you said, we're all high-fiving. I think we're all excited about it. But what's the action that's going to take place here? And that means you guys, the regulators, you got to start putting this stuff into play in your industry. So,
Jed, I think that the takeaway here is, for everybody listening, is, well, how do I get started? And I think you've shared that very well today. But tell us one more time how folks can reach out to you.
Yeah, so I'm Jed Seifert. Easiest place to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm pretty quick with responses there. If you reach out through Stakes Mfg.com, our website, you can get in touch with me through our contact form there. The other resources are, as I mentioned, we're apse.org, thearc.org, or your state vocational rehabilitation office. And then I will also be doing a speaking event at ISS. And the speaking event at ISS is just going to get into even more detail about sort of how to get started and how to do it and what to expect. And we'll have a Q&A to hopefully answer anybody else's questions. So hopefully you guys can I'll see you there, and hopefully I hear from you even before that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Fantastic.
Make sure you're reaching out to Jed, and reach out to Jed and share your wins with him. Right, he's got to keep track of all this somehow. So
Right.
That's another great point. If you already have an inclusive workforce and you want to just share your story, I'm constantly being reached out to by different media outlets and other things, and we're always looking for more folks that want to tell their story. So if you're already doing it, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear your story. And if you want some exposure for the story, would love to help in that capacity as well, right? This is a unified vision for us all to work together. And it shouldn't just be my story being told. It should be everybody else's.
I love that. All right. Well, we'll get all of those links into our show notes as well, so people can reach out to you. Jed, thank you so much for your time today. This has been incredible, and just love the story, and keep doing what you're doing, sir.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me. Thank you for supporting the mission and providing us a platform to keep championing it to the industry. Love what you guys do. And next time we meet, it should be over chicken wings.
Absolutely.
We'll make that happen.
Too many times. It's time for us to actually execute on it.
Yep, that's right. Let's have those chicken wings. Awesome. All right, Jed, have a great day.
Have a great one. Thanks, guys.
All right.
That was an awesome show.
Yes. Oh my gosh, just incredibly awesome, and just like I said, there were moments in there that those stories were hit me. I do have an older son who's got disabilities on the autism spectrum, and like Jed talked about, you think about that, right? You wonder what's going to happen when we're gone, and how is he going to be able to kind of continue on, but with people leading the charge like Jed, and just in general, I know a lot of folks that I get to work with in our success group. They've got family members and people that are close to them. Sharon, who jumped in earlier, talked about that, and I know she's got a son with autism. So, and then Jerry Dahlheimer here said, "What great information! Thanks for informing us about this." So, yeah. Really cool to have that honor, I guess, Terry, in a sense, right? So
absolutely, and then that's what 10 years of Two Regular Guys is all about, trying to share education and information with the industry, and there's always more and new information. So I guess we need to do this for another 10 years.
All right, yeah, 10 more years. So we'll have Jed back.
All kinds of commitments happening today.
I know.
Jed's going to be on first show in November next year.
That's right. We're going to have
chicken
all the
wings.
Chicken wings. That's right. When we do the live show, for sure. All right. Well, Terry, speaking of live and out in person, what's happening for you, sir? I know there's still travel in your 2022 here.
There is. I am going to be leaving this afternoon for Chicago. I'll be doing my complete screen printing business course at Atlas Screen Supply this weekend at the last event of the year there. And I'm going to wrap up my screen printing classes here in Phoenix at Workhorse Products. That will be December 10th and 11th. Still have a few spaces left for that class. All of my 2023 classes so far, and there are going to be more, but all of the classes for Atlas Screen Supply and Workhorse are on my website, terrycombs.com, and always adding to that. How about you, Aaron? What do you have coming up?
Yeah, so no more work travel for me this year, but I am participating in the virtual applique getaway, and trying to find the link for it in the banners here, but I'll just share it anyhow. But that starts on November 15th. So if you have not grabbed your ticket for that virtual applique getaway, looks like a fantastic lineup of speakers, and you know, they've asked us for giveaways and goodie bag stuff, and so there's lots of value to be part of this applique getaway. So if you go to osg.link/virtual AG for applique getaway, that will get you where you need to go. I'll see if I can actually put it in the comments. If Eric were here, you know, it'd be much better.
Eric pops them up before we say them. That's
I know.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, I got this. So yeah, that's what I've got going on to kind of close out the year. I can't believe that we're talking about closing out the year, but yes, we are to that time. So we'll start talking about 2023 here shortly. But for now, that's it for me. And just as a report on Eric, he is under the weather, but he's efforting to get better, so he's going to be taking kind of today off. No take up today, so make sure that you wish him well, but he will be coming back strong and ready to hit the ground running next week, he says. So also, he does have a new article out in Graphics Pro's Start Here issue called Craft to Commercial, and you can check that out. And also you can look up his latest stitch types for line work. That can be found in the November Images Magazine UK edition. So we will get links to both of those things into the show notes, Terry, so that people can click on those things. So when I have the show uploaded here sometime this weekend, maybe or early next week, you can go over there to 2 Regular Guys, the number 2 regularguys.com to check that out. So, all right, Terry.
Good.
Well, anything that we missed here?
I think it's time to wrap it up for the day.
All right. Well, Terry, like you said, it's time to wrap it up. We want to thank Jed Seifert for his time today and for all that he's doing. Again, make sure that you're reaching out to him. We will have his LinkedIn profile, but easy to find. Just search up Jed Seifert on LinkedIn. Great way to connect with him. I think that's how I originally connected with him myself, and really appreciate his time today, Terry. It was awesome.
And Eric Campbell at ericcampbell.com. We wish you well. Hopefully you're going to feel better, and I think you're taking a well-deserved day off. I don't recall you ever taking a day off. and Aaron certainly appreciates a reminder of what it's like, of all the things you do for us. So
yes, I mean, I always knew that what he did was amazing, but this, like you said, it's a good reminder that Eric's help is invaluable. So next week, Terry, we already mentioned at the top of the show, but let's get another reminder out there. Reggie nomination announcements happening next week. So you have until Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time, right? That's a hard close, right? So
yeah, don't call us at 5:01.
Yeah, you're welcome to email me afterwards, but it's not going to do you any good, right? We've been down this road before. So you've got to get those nominations in, and let's see if I can. Well, just go to 2regularguys.com. There's a big banner at the top, and you can click on it and get those nominations in. We will be recognizing everyone next week, and then we'll be determining who's going to be voted on after that. So again, go to 2regularguys.com to check that out for that show next week, Terry. I'm really excited about.
Me too, as well. All right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the 2 Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to 2 Regular Guys. Check out our website at 2regularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/2regularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/2regularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, 2regularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.